I can't believe that this is possible.
Going live?
No, I know that that's possible. What I'm saying is, like, Zoom has made it so easy to go live on YouTube that it's like.
That is true. All right. Should I share my screen?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Alrighty. So let's share screen. Screen 1, 2.
I think I'm gonna post this into Twitter. So maybe we'll get like one person going.
Yeah, that works.
All right. So what were some of the things we were trying to accomplish here?
All right. So I think the main thing is to allow TestFit to talk with Revit. So right now we have, with our Dynamo package, we have the ability to do that in some form. In that we can bring in like the facade walls, some corridor walls, that kind of thing. But I think what is really powerful is if we can use Revit model groups to create an even more detailed model out of it. Because we know the unit types in TestFit, we should be able to take those in Revit and build out a whole model for it. So right now, what we can do is go from TestFit to Revit. We don't have from Revit to TestFit yet, but I think that's not too far off. So right now, the way we do this is with a Dynamo script, and it is a big Dynamo script. So we'll have to cut that down a little bit, but then also potentially look at doing Revit add-in, just because not everyone knows Dynamo, and Dynamo is tough to scale. Revit add-ins are a little easier to scale. So
I've never loved the Dynamo UI. I think it's terrible. And the player UI too is pretty bad, because you also then have to teach people how to go through the do this one first, then this one, then this one.
Yeah,
you're not really keeping people on rails as much as you'd want with the data translation process. So maybe I think a plugin makes sense, but we just need to figure out this round trip in a more effective fashion. So what are these units in TestFit on the left? Are these like...
So if we go to the unit editor, so right now I'm only doing inline units. So we don't have corners yet, but I don't think that's far off either. So basically the idea right now is that you create you create these
unique units.
These unique units in TestFit, and then you create units of the same size in Revit also. So this isn't ideal right now because you're still having to draw these out manually. But if we do, we should be able to have a Revit export where we export these into TestFit. That's not that hard. So ideally we would do that. But and the reason why they have images in it is basically that's how we know where the unit is and the rotation of it.
And we don't animate GIFs, evidently.
Unfortunately not, because these are all, or at least this and the Home Alone are GIFs. So basically, even if you didn't have this building here, so you create the units, configure your building however you want. So let's say we want a weird little thing like that. You got just 2 stories, no amenity space, but I think actually we would handle amenity space just fine. And what we basically do is we save this as a trusty .rscd. And then in Revit, what we're going to do is open up Dynamo, and this is the ugly graph. And actually, about
I hate it.
about this over can be deleted because that's all in a Python node right now.
Oh, nice. Good.
So
more Python nodes.
Yeah, that helps a little bit. But really, the only things that really matter here is plugging the RSD file. So here you say, point me to the RSD, and I think it's in here. So we're going to say that's the file we want. And I'm just going to run this real quick just to clear out the memory. So that's not actually running the script yet. That's just making it so that
it's purging.
Yeah, a nice little purge.
All right. So the important thing is we've got these model groups loaded.
Yeah.
Right. And okay. So now what's the next?
And these model groups, like, yeah, very, very simple, but you can make them as detailed as you want. So what this Dynamo script is going to do is basically take the configuration of the TestFit building and then configure these these typical units in that configuration, but make sure there's no overlapping walls, add floors and roofs and that kind of thing. So if we zoom out a little bit and go here and hit, and actually, so there's a few other things in here that I should point out. So you have to choose the RSD file, but then right now, and there'll be a better way to do this, we're basically just telling what type of Revit families to make the walls out of.
So all right. So these particular blocks, it's taking the parts. It's taking the TestFit common wall. Let's look at common walls. Yeah. It's taking the common walls and parts. It's turning in polycurves. We're grabbing the Z dimension so they know what.
So they know the height of the wall.
Oh, the height of the wall. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's just a line in TestFit.
Yeah.
And then associating a Revit family type with that. So this node here will take a line, the height, the level that it's supposed to be on, and then the wall type.
So we've got to generate levels and then have a level lookup table for the elevation.
Yep, and it's doing that right now.
Okay.
So if you wanted to, you could change these so that your facade had a specific facade type, and all that stuff. Same with floors and roofs. So that's pretty much it. Now, if we go and run it, it is
big money.
Glacially slow compared to TestFit, but Revit is a bit of a behemoth like that.
Yeah, but I think if we do like a plugin in, I think we might be communicating directly with the API. Might be a little faster. Is kind of what I heard from some people, but
that's exactly what would happen.
Nice.
So it doesn't look great right now, but what it is that's the roof that it created.
You made a roof?
Oh yeah.
Nat.
I got all the bells and whistles on this puppy. All right.
Holy crap, that's so cool.
There we go. So it's got a roof. So I have an issue with like holes in the building right now, so the roof doesn't account for the hole, but we can hide that. So let me hide the Dynamo. So we've configured this building. So each apartment unit, basically what happens is it takes a copy of this, deletes all the exterior walls because we bring those in separately from TestFit.
Yep.
And then places it as a unit here. So like this unit just looks like everything inside of it. So you could put toilets in there, you could put sinks, countertops, all that stuff. And what's cool about it is, say you wanted to, it adds the interior walls also. So it doesn't get rid of those. But the reason why we set it up this way was so that if you wanted to go in and add, so I'm editing the group right now. If you wanted to add a whole bunch more dining tables and put
I do. Of course, my apartment units need at least 4 dining tables.
Exactly.
And a couch that's looking right into a wall.
Yes. Also a bedroom that is half balcony. So we just made that change, and that's occurring everywhere else.
Is there a concept in Revit of like there is in AutoCAD there's a dynamic block where you can have like a block that has like all of the sort of things in it, but you can have like visibility options. So like you can change it from like maybe a unit that has dual vanities in the bathroom to a single vanity, just with like a visibility setting. Is there something like that in Revit?
Potentially. So actually, let's look at this. So let me think. So like if we
maybe not a problem to solve for now, but like what I really like is we've created a lot of BIM geometry, right?
Yeah.
But people are doing more authorship now that they're in Revit. That's the point. We're doing more authorship. And if we can create a way of maybe just clicking on that unit and saying, you know, or maybe right clicking it or having a parameter or something in Revit that's related to different options for that unit. And I'm mainly thinking about like bays, like units that have bays, units that have chamfered bays, and like architects will use like the delta between those two to make the facade look really good.
Yeah, I think we could figure out a way to do that. Because right now, so like if we select this model group and then select all that are similar, those are the ones. And so, you know, say we wanted to take this one, it would kind of decouple it. But yeah, I think we could figure something out like that, because I like the idea of, you know, being able to modify those a bit.
Is there in your mind a way for people to create units in Revit, and then like could we create a process of creating a KOP file from that? All right, so for people that don't know, TestFit, we operate with like lots of little files that save user preferences. And so like this database that Nat has pulled up right now is called the .kop. It's a kit of parts file. And so with this kit of parts, where I want to get to is architects that have fully fleshed out unit plans can convert that into a KOP within Revit, run their model in TestFit, which is like we've always have been hammering is like significantly faster at getting this kind of stuff done with the numbers, shipping it back to Revit. I feel like that's maybe the holy grail, man, is like, how do you...
I think that back and forth is key, because like, so right now it's kind of a one-way thing where we do things in TestFit and then we export it to Revit. But yeah, I think being able to create this KOP from Revit would be great, because, you know, an architect could come in here, draw their apartments exactly how they want, bring it into TestFit, utilize TestFit for what it's best at, which is you know, configuring and optimization, and then bring it back into Revit, which Revit's good at documentation. So, you know.
Hey, I don't know if you have the YouTube chat open, but Dan Stein just said testfit.inside.
There we go. Nice. Yes, testfit.inside. Oh my God, I'm excited. Oh yeah, this floor. He
also said that nice. Now you can create an energy analysis model and push it inside to get a PEUI. Nat, do you know what that means?
A what? A
PEUI.
I don't know what a PEUI is. I know an EUI, but I don't know what PEUI is.
What is an EUI?
EUI is energy use intensity, right? Energy modeling.
Yeah. So Aaron, what this one doesn't do, I'm assuming it's Aaron, like it doesn't make the geometry lighter, so people can't really manipulate the units as well in Revit, I think. So that's another problem that we should solve together, is like how do you get higher latency? Like could we flip a switch and all of the assets inside the units like turn off, and they just turn into like blocks that people can move around, and then you flip another switch and loads all that geometry back in.
Yeah, that's kind of tough because Revit wants to know all that stuff inside there.
Yeah, but that's why we work with Aaron, who knows Revit better than anybody else.
That is true. Yeah.
This is excellent, man. Like this has been my dream for like 3 years to get to this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think our Dynamo package definitely brought us a lot of the way there. Because like, if we, let's delete all these units. We can delete the units and we still have all those common walls and floors and things like that. And that was because, Ryan put in the effort, however long ago to do that. So, I think this is a really strong aspect of it, which is like, you don't have to, you have a lot of the documentation done here. Yeah, I think it's good.
Oh, I love it. All right, so Nat, can we make this script? I don't think we're gonna make it available, but if people want us to sit down with them and talk through how it works, and help them build out their own script for their firm, I feel like we'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, because this is a mess of a script, and so I think we can definitely guide them in how to use it. And then, if enough people like it, then I think we make, a Revit add-in, because then people don't even have to go through Dynamo.
But let it be known that Dynamo is an excellent prototyping tool.
That is true. I definitely was hitting the wall with it on this one. I definitely ended up relying on a lot of Python nodes in it at the end, but it certainly is a fantastic prototyping tool in Revit.
And what about inside corner units? Like really irregular shapes? I mean,
yeah. So right now I don't have those. It was just a problem I didn't want to solve right now.
I feel you.
But
it was the last unit type that we solved.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, let me pull up. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be that difficult. The issue is like, if we bifurcate it, or actually, so like with this here, can you bifurcate that in TestFit?
What? All right. There's a few golden rules that I follow with unit plans.
Mm-hmm.
You do not bifurcate outside corner units.
Okay. All right. Then that should be doable. Yeah, I can basically just pull it in as another type, and that should work. There is one thing which we don't deal with flex right now. So you can't have your units be so
a
foot or two.
Go back to site, and we can talk about unallocated area.
Hold on one sec. Let me just pull up the actual one. There we go.
Nice. Okay. So when you hit these corners, these building mass corners, like near that S1 on the bottom left, there's like a little bit of black area right there.
Yeah.
So what the user has specified is for all of their kit parts to not flex at all. And so where this building mass hits that other building mass, there's like, I don't know, maybe 9 inches right there.
Yeah.
And we just throw it into a thing called unallocated area. And if you flip back to Revit, like I might just clean that up by either making the corridor just like slightly larger on that end. Like I might just delete that wall, right?
That's funny, yeah, because my script it wanted to place 2 walls in the same spot there, and so I kept having to unjoin those. But yeah, like we can just clean that up now, right? Like just remove. Actually, I think that's it. That wall is a little bit funky, and that wall is not actually there.
There's another problem I'm seeing is the alignment. Like there's 2 walls that are connecting right there on the facade that are not lined up.
Yeah, I'm wondering I think that's because of this issue here.
Is that it, or is it shoddy code, shoddy workmanship in the translation process?
Well, it doesn't occur anywhere else. So I'm gonna blame that not on me. I think there's something with that it doesn't like. It's creating multiple lines or something.
We should just get Aaron in here. Aaron, you want to get in the Zoom call? Heck, why not? I just put it on YouTube.
Oh yeah, it brought the doors in. Oh man, or it didn't. It doesn't bring in the doors from the corridor because it's deleting those walls before it places. But it is bringing in the interior walls and the doors associated with that.
So why can't we run another, like at the very end, run another one that just places doors in all those niches?
We could, yeah.
Oh, it's got one there.
No, so it's in the unit itself. In the unit here, it has it. But there.
The man, the myth, the legend. I'm like the guy that somehow kept his power on the entire time when everybody else was freezing in the cold. I'm just kidding.
Wasn't anything we did. We were just lucky. No, we lost it for an hour, but
oh, an hour. Nice. Yeah, I had a night that Tuesday was 19 hours off and Wednesday was like 16 hours off.
So yeah, I mean, when ours went off, my whole plan was like, we're driving to Oklahoma. Like, if it's out for another hour, we're out of here. I don't know.
So like you could have flown. Like I looked at flights to. This is going to be hilarious. I actually looked at flights to Cancun, Aaron.
Oh wow, wow!
It was like
our fearless leader leaving us.
It was like I get the wife, the kid, myself, and I with Southwest Airlines. I Airlines flies free. So like I could have gone to Cancun.
Yeah, but the real question is, had you gone to Cancun and somebody called you out on it, would you have blamed your child? That's the real question. Just kidding. This looks cool. What you guys are up to?
Dude. This is how I lead. I say, Nat, make BIM things happen. And like
Clifton gave me some gave me some free time to prototype this. So I whipped up a Dynamo Script with it. But
nice.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys could have probably done a lot better, but it got the general idea.
No, that's basically exactly what we were going to recommend doing. The only difference is like some nuances about like the demise walls. So it's kind of an interesting game. Like with groups in Revit, you have to leave the demise walls out entirely.
Yeah.
That whole exclude functionality. So like you can see, obviously you get that pre-select and you see the demise walls. You see that restore all excluded button in the ribbon. That's basically because the demise walls are in the group definition, but they've been deleted. And that makes the whole model scream to holy hell.
Oh, okay. So I broke Revit.
Well, this functionality used to not exist. They created it in like 2009 or 2008, and their whole theory was like, let's say you made a table with 5 chairs and you made a group out of it, but you wanted one group that only had 4 chairs. You wouldn't have to make a new group type. You would just tab select a chair and delete it, and it would do what's called excluding. But they didn't account.
And we're using it for entire units.
Well, no, I mean, a lot of folks try to. And so, not to derail this into a Revit conversation, but you guys know in multifamily, a lot of firms are under the impression that groups are absolutely horrifying. And that's because there was a side effect to Autodesk making this decision. Once they made group exclusions possible, the software starts excluding stuff because it treats the delete command as exclusion, whereas excluding an element should have been a discrete command. So now let's say you make a wall with a door and Revit, for some reason, thinks it can't make the door anymore. Instead of completely breaking your group, it just excludes the door. Well, the problem is now you've got a damaged group that's not going to rear its ugly head until later. So you've got multifamily firms and they're like, yeah, check out all my units. And then like on a Friday afternoon, everything breaks. And if you go in and look at it, stuff was broken 3 weeks ago. It was just all excluded and nobody noticed. So all that to say, excluding basically sucks.
Okay. So what would you create this unit without the walls, so then you don't have to
so you create it with all the interior walls. You just leave the demise walls out. Now, when you have the first version of the group sitting out there in space, you do still draw demise walls around it. They're just not part of the group. It's kind of weird.
Okay, gotcha. And I mean, so that would work because basically what the Dynamo script is doing is taking these taking the lines from these exterior walls, creating a bounding box around them, and then basically TestFit wouldn't be in here, but like every apartment, its origin is at bottom left. So I'm getting a bounding box, taking the midpoint, and then that's how I'm relating them together. So I'm wondering if there would be a better way, because like right now the script basically needs those walls in order to find that point.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can literally drop model lines around the edge of the room, right? Like it just can't be the actual wall objects. Now this is where we really need John at some point in this little work session, because I'm not sure how much you've looked into this so far about the group boundaries and the bounding box and the origin and rotating these groups, but it gets really interesting.
Flipping them? Can you mirror these things?
If they're built correctly, you can. You'll hear on the internet that you can't.
Well, if you embed like a refrigerator or something that's asymmetrical refrigerator, are you still allowed to flip it? Is that a weird?
I mean, so AutoCAD had a command that you could make things not mirrorable. Revit doesn't have that command, so everything mirrors. And then the logic will sound backwards, but you basically either use Dynamo or the API on an instance basis to determine handing. So like my desk is a left-handed desk and Allison is sitting at a right-handed desk. And of course, when we ordered them from EvoDesk, that's two different model numbers. In Revit, it's the same component, and then you append an instance character to either be left-handed or right-handed. And you have to, you have to handle it with the instance. Oh, there's John.
Did you say model groups?
I feel so bad for
John. John, there's a Zoom link in the YouTube chat if you want to hop in.
I feel so bad for John and a lot of his coding initiatives, because model groups are like the most under API'd thing in Revit, and so many workflows like multifamily, healthcare, they all depend on model groups if they're done correctly. If they're done horribly, they depend on model links, and then everything is just shit. So it's kind of a funny thing, because poor John, like I'm always like, can we do this with a group? Can we do this with a group? Can we do this with a group?
The answer is no. Yeah, I was finding the same thing in Dynamo. Like you look at the Dynamo like nodes for groups, and it's like that long.
It's ungroup.
yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, I can get the elements in this group and that's about it. I can't get the rotation of the group. I can't get anything.
So I will tell you a funny story from my Beck days before Parallax. I worked with a gentleman there, Frank Freilich, who's amazing. Frank is like one of my favorite people to work with. And we were working on some direct to fabrication steel stuff though. So, steel modeled in Revit, then location data exported to Inventor for shop drawings. Anyways, whole point is he was hitting the same limitation with model groups. And this was like Revit 2012 or something.
Oh boy.
And then he discovered accidentally that if at the time, this is probably fixed by now, but at the time, if you had a group in Revit named group 1 and it was already defined in the file, you could update it with the API. I'm sorry, you couldn't update it. You could tell the API to create another group that was identically named group 1 and it would let you do it. So you could end up with like 5 model groups all named A1, but then it was funny because you could select all of the old ones and swap them to the new ones and not have to do renaming and stuff. But it was super, super fudgy.
Hey, looks like 60-second Revit has arrived.
All right.
Oh. The man. Wait, I already did that for Aaron.
Yeah, you already did that.
In a world where Dynamo scripts are getting redonkulous, and we need more memes. There's one warrior. Is that? No, I'm not good. All right.
I thought it was pretty good.
All right. How's the high desert, man? You're back in New Mexico, right?
Yeah. It's been nice.
Yeah.
Is my audio on? Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I swear I know how to do this. I know we're doing good. No more snow, thankfully, so that's nice. We got quite a bit, but I won't sit here and complain since a couple of you are in Texas. So
it was so little snow. It was so funny.
Yeah, coming from New York, Aaron, I'm pretty sure you're like, this is normal.
It was like, so, this happened in 2011 in Texas, by the way. And I had just moved down here like 6 months earlier. And the reason it was funny in 2011 is people's morning routines are different. Some people have the radio on, some people have the TV on. I don't. Like, I wake up, I shower, breakfast, whatever, I'm getting ready for work. I don't have the radio or the TV on. So in 2011, I walked outside to go to work and I'm like, there's snow on the ground. Cool. I still had my Subaru. It still had the snow brush in the back seat because that was totally normal to me. So I grabbed the snow brush, I brushed off the car and I started driving to work. And I didn't realize until I got like out of my apartment complex that it was like apocalypse now. Because like literally on Live Oak Street, there's a car like spinning through an intersection. And I'm like, what is that guy doing?
I think he just described a Subaru commercial. Like add some golden retriever puppies in there, and I think that's it.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was hilarious. And so I got to downtown Dallas and I started working, and then I tried to have lunch a few hours later and there was like no place to get food. And I was like, it's 3 inches of snow. Anyways, yeah, it was crazy.
Well, when I did my couple of business trips to Denver, like in the middle of winter, and get to the car rental place, and the lady hands me a brush, and she's like, "Here you go," along with my receipt, and I'm like, "The heck is this brush for?" And she's like, "Oh, sweetie, it's for the snow."
Sweetie.
Hey, Nat, let's clear it and rerun it, and let's get John's eyes on it.
Yeah.
Also, like, I'm just excited to see it again because it's.
John, we were right before you joined. We were talking through the whole group exclusion thing versus demise walls being in the group, and they were telling me about how their logic is working regarding the bounding box of the group and the origin that they get in TestFit. And I said this is probably something they want to talk to you about because I know you've been down that road, and I don't remember all the nuances you uncovered about that, but groups being what they are.
Well, then bounding boxes being axis aligned.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Like,
interesting.
Yeah, do a 45 on a wing of a building and run it.
Oh, that's what it was. No, that's what it was. I explained it poorly. I said rotate or mirror it, but that's what it was. It was at 45 degrees. The bounding box went psycho.
Yeah, because then the bounding box will go around. You guys know. Yeah, the bounding box will go around the entire thing now.
Oh. All right. Well, this is good. You're finding some flaws in my logic. All right. Let's see. If we'll run it and then I can show you what's happening.
This is what you get for doing an orthogonal building, Nat.
Yeah, this is what you get for hiring a mechanical engineer.
Wait. Where's that link about the QA person with the cup and the blocks? You guys have seen that, right?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, geez.
Although I will say, Aaron, you got to look at Nat's units. They're adorable.
I love that there's just like a table in the apartment. That totally looks like it's staging for real estate.
I think we should get our joint TestFit parallax units in here and be a little bit more realistic.
I'm not going to lie. That's kind of why I jumped in. I was like, oh, heck yeah, I want to see this run with those cool units. And then I'm like, those aren't the units.
That's definitely what I was thinking about when I made this. I was not thinking that my units would be what we show this to the world with. So John, basically what this is doing is TestFit creates a .rsd file, which is very similar to a JSON. And so in Dynamo, I'm getting that JSON, getting the origin of each one of these apartment units, and then the rotation of them, placing the units, deleting. Right now I have walls in the groups, deleting the walls, placing it based off of that bounding box, which, like you said, is going to be an issue once we come to 45s. And then we have this bit down here is basically our TestFit Dynamo package doing like like the normal walls around the building.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
this all just appeared just right when you run this graph. So so now we have some real Revit stuff going on.
Yeah, and I don't think it's like pretty usable. So Ryan, our CTO, obviously did like a lot of good work around getting clean geometry from TestFit, so that we're not duplicating walls, we're not duplicating floors or anything like that. So it's just hide that. It's a wall. It works. Sort of.
Don't we want that wall to start at? I'm not great at Revit modeling, but don't we want that wall to start at like the ground and go up instead of being on every single floor? Or is there multiple schools of thought on how to do that?
There are multiple schools of thought, but with an exterior wall, the exterior wall is also going to be broken into two pieces. There's going to be the framing that actually sits on the slab, and then there's going to be the finish that is going to bypass. And so if you think of like the brick or the stucco, that wall will be modeled full height. And then the stud wall that's actually sitting on the concrete slab will be level to level, like what you're showing there.
Gotcha. So ideally this facade wall would span the whole 2 levels.
No, I mean, so again, right now, because you're working in like a, kind of generic environment, it doesn't really matter. The reality is the same thing is true for the exterior walls as the demise walls. So when you get farther downstream, you're going to want these groups to basically be boundaryless. So like the model groups won't have exterior walls, they won't have fenestration, they won't have windows, they won't have doors, and they won't have corridor walls or demise walls. All of that needs to be handled by the graph itself, not with the groups. And then the groups are basically going to not have the perimeter walls at all. So they won't have any bounding walls aside from the interior walls of the unit. But again, like so like an exterior, the way we teach multifamily firms to model in Revit is the exterior finish will be modeled full height. So like the brick, if it's 5 stories tall, will go 0 to 5, but the stud framing will stop. It'll go 0 to 1, then 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, because that's theoretically how it gets built.
Gotcha.
Correct. Yes, that's how walls sit on top of floors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like with something like curtain wall / window wall / storefront will actually make the distinction depending on the material. So if it's a curtain wall bypassing the edge of a slab and then being mounted to the side of the slab with clips, we'll model it full height. But if it's window wall and it's sitting on the slab, then we'll model it 1 level at a time, like you guys are doing. But the cool thing is for you in Dynamo, I don't know if it's going to be easier or harder for you when you go to take that stuff out of the group, because then you'll have to place those walls not with the group, but that might actually work out better.
Yeah, I think if I can figure out a good way to find this origin point, to relate it to the TestFit origin, without those walls and that bounding box, I think that would be the best way forward, because then I don't need these walls at all in the group.
Sure. I've always been curious about this with TestFit, because John was mocking something up for us internally for a client a couple of weeks ago that was it's meant to do a different purpose, right? Like, so a lot of our clients have the units pre-built, but when they're doing their first layout, like you were saying earlier in the call, they don't want to drag the whole unit around because it's slow. So we were basically making like a simplified unit object from the unit. But where that gets tricky is one of the benefits of not having the demise walls in the group is that not all the demise walls will be the same. So getting that origin point, now obviously,
what, because they're different STCs or something?
I mean, there might be different STCs. So think about like when you get into, and again, TestFit is amazing at what it's doing, but it's also earlier in the process, so you don't have to think about this yet. But like with hotel rooms and apartments, at somewhere in the building, the roof drain has to go down. Assuming that it's, assuming that it's not a sloped roof with gutters and downspouts and whatnot. So what often happens is there might be one thickness of demise wall, for 3 units in a row, but then in between units 4 and 5, the demise wall might be like 6 inches thicker because there's a freaking roof drain that's running down the middle of it or something.
Maybe that's what we can do with that unallocated area, Nat, is like put all the weird services in it.
We'll just send it all to one side of the building.
Yeah, like sometimes that works, right? But depending on the footprint of the building, if it's a low slope roof with roof drains and overflow drains, a lot of those pipes have to go somewhere. There's where are the supply pipes going up the building, and a lot of that stuff runs in demise walls, not necessarily, in apartment buildings, but it happens in hospitality as well, and in healthcare. So the only reason it's interesting is when John was working on the little app that we were messing with a couple of weeks ago, you basically have to just set a number in early design to use as the demise wall thickness, but later it's probably going to change for some apartments.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then in regards to getting that origin point correct, if you build your model groups with that as the origin and you're not regrouping them and stuff, you're generally okay.
Sorry, say that again.
So like, if you build your model groups with that origin defined at that bottom corner, that's the origin it places by.
Yeah.
But that moves all the freaking time. So it's tough,
Yeah. So do you think like creating like removing these, not including these walls in the group, but using model lines or something instead and then hide those, would that be a better way to get that origin?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine. We had some stuff in model groups even where we just had a point-based family that was our origin that we used too, as well. It gets weird if someone messes with that origin point. So if these model groups are fresh and you know that how they're going to act, you're great. But if someone messes with that origin point and then you start placing them, it gets really crazy.
And it's something that really sucks about groups, because if you select that group, like you can accidentally grab that origin widget and rotate it and move it, and like it won't tell you at all.
And we can't control that origin through the API in any way. Only way, and like, how many people are watching this? No, I'm just kidding. No.
That's when you know some real John knowledge is about to drop.
I think there's 2 people watching right now, but I'm pretty sure it's me and probably someone else watching the chat. So
it's me.
Yeah, I need to add add some notes for it to Dynamo, but you can control the origin point of a model group if you create the model group with a really big old element that you control that element's location. And then you delete the element type from Revit and the model group origin stays.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh, that's like what we do with keynotes to get the leader to stay.
So even if you wanted to mock
trashy,
it up,
but I love it.
If you wanted to mock it up in Revit right now, you just inside your model group, or inside this like ungrouped one, draw a big floor, with your origin towards the right, or something.
So you make a floor that's 1,000 feet by 1,000 feet.
And then the center of the floor is where you want the target.
My mind is blown right now.
Interesting. Okay.
So our tags, every tag in our Revit template is built that way because of the way leader lines work. And so
wherever the center of your floor is where your origin would be if you group this. Go ahead and do edit type on the floor and duplicate real quick though. That way you can delete the type definition from the database.
And so when you delete the type, it doesn't become excluded because the type doesn't exist anymore. Dude, my mind is totally blown right now.
Sorry, John, what did you say to do?
So go ahead and click on that one and do edit type, duplicate, and just call it whatever the heck you want. Yeah. And then go ahead and group that with your other stuff. So you'd be defining a new group definition. And then your origin now you'll see once it's done.
Well, we didn't center that floor yet.
Yeah, so it won't be exactly where it was before though, at least. Yeah, so that's where your origin is now because of that floor. And then in your project browser, go to the floors and delete that type now. So in project browser.
I'm really curious to see I haven't tried deleting a type where they're in a group.
Yeah, so it'll super janky, of course, but yeah, so if you right click and delete that.
I can delete that.
And then it'll say, oh, okay, it's gonna not like you deleting it, but okay. And then if you click on the group, your origin should stay.
And
so the API doesn't let you control group origins, but we can control them.
And that's not excluded because the type doesn't exist anymore.
And then you can handle that warning in the API too. So.
Oh man!
Do me one favor. Hang on. I'm sorry. Edit undo so the floor is there again. Make a copy of that group. Like just put another one over there. And then delete that type again. Will it still let you do it?
It should. The suspense is killing me.
So that's okay. So you hit okay. Wow.
That's amazing. So if
I was curious if it was going to throw fixed groups at that, but it didn't because it edited all of them at the same time.
So in Dynamo, then, if I were to use like the normal element dot set location node or whatever, it would be working off of that node, off of that origin instead of the centroid or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So in the case of like you have group definitions and you want to like make sure no one's screwed with them, like the origin, you can actually define the location point, ungroup it, regroup it, delete the type, and now you've moved that point for your future placement. Yeah, so it's pretty like it's a workaround like at the core of it, but if you are using model groups, like it's
a good workaround. So then but then someone could move this origin, right? But after it's placed for us, I don't think that's a huge deal.
Yeah, after it's placed, if they mess with it, you're fine. It's if you go to place more that you're in trouble, So initially when you create groups, define the origin well, but then in the case you're placing some that might have been used previously and you want to know where that is, you can edit it through that like workaround. And then that's important too if you need to do like an add group API or add element to group, which doesn't exist. You would do the same thing, create a new group with a known origin and replace all the other groups. It's like, it sucks. Like, I'm not going to say it's perfect,
but it works.
And then it really sucks in Dynamo to do it too, actually, because like some of the handling's kind of hard, the sequencing. But yeah, that's model groups are like, I've spent a lot of time.
I can tell.
But yeah.
That is cool. Well, thank you. That'll be helpful. And
I have to eat lunch because I have a 1 o'clock meeting, but I'm like, this is kind of fun. But then I have a 1 o'clock and then a 2 o'clock, and then suddenly I'm gonna have no coffee and no food until 3, and I'm gonna freak out. So I should probably go eat.
Dude, no, that's just like that's called being an adult. I feel like I don't eat anymore. When I do, it's like at 3 o'clock. I'm eating breakfast at 3 o'clock sometimes. It's weird.
Have you, Clifton, since having a child, have you become like a legend at just shoveling food? Like it's like kids aren't
bizarre,
crying,
man.
Everybody's calm. Just get the food in your face as fast as you can.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm a big dude. It's weird because like for the first time in my life, I'm just losing my appetite. Like you're like, whatever, I gotta go serve the kid and and the employees too. I have all these employees now that require my time. Hey!
I'm gonna come eat in a second.
Okay.
Clifton says hi, you can't hear.
Clifton.
Hello. Yeah, so I think we could improve this workflow. I feel like we could make a Lebbeus Woods generator, which would be pretty cool. So like you just rotate the origins all slightly and then you run it again on top of it and it generates lots of crazy walls everywhere. So some architecture students out there, if you're looking to do pointless, crazy form, you could do that.
So does Nat have that file I sent you?
I think he does. Or we have like one file in Drive. We have one folder in Drive that has stuff in it, and I don't know where it is.
Drive like OneDrive?
No, we use Google Drive.
Oh, Google Drive.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay.
So it's in there somewhere.
You guys are peers.
I opened it once, Aaron, and like I was like, I need to hire somebody to help me.
It's like the simplest file we've ever made.
Yeah, I don't know, but just
I'll have to take a look at it.
The only reason why is so there's what's called the unit cloud, and that's like where the 5 groups already exist. But you would see if you went into those. So I don't have the origin fix like John's talking about, but you'd see the demise walls all removed and everything. And we could go in that file and just reposition the origins, and then you could try it and not have to worry about the demise walls and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
Don't critique the units. We got them from Clifton.
Yeah, they're Clifton units.
Allison had a lot of questions while she was modeling those units. She's like, "What?" And I was like, "Just, it's okay. Just
well,
put them in."
Okay, all right. So let's be fair here.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
I don't want to make great unit plans as our default because I want my users to make their own unit plans.
Totally. So I'm totally with you.
So they're intentionally terrible.
He says they're intentionally terrible.
I mean, I've drawn maybe hundreds of unit plans professionally. Like I know how to draw a unit plan. I just don't want to make great unit plans.
Yeah, but are they as good as these unit plans?
No, these are excellent.
Exactly. Thank you.
How do you do the quantity takeoff in here? Like, are we making rooms in the group, or is the whole unit a room?
I mean, for quantities, we should just be able to create a schedule for it, right?
What do you want to quantify?
Well, I want fidelity. I want data fidelity, right? So in TestFit on our net, you can go back to the dashboard there. It gives you a net rentable and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, like, so you can schedule the groups, but that's just going to be a line item in account. You can schedule walls, but that's just going to be length or area or whatever. I mean, right now you don't have, I don't think you have any rooms in your groups, do you?
No, but I mean, we could we can, whatever we put in here, Clifton, we can quantify.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking about our customers, because like what they want to do is to get this building on their tile blocks, to get it in the Inscape, to get it, you know, like they want their schedules and all that stuff synced, if you will.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably maybe another thing we could look at doing is how do you create the rooms and get the quantity takeoffs.
So hold that thought for a second. Can I drive? Is that cool? If I like,
yeah, go for control.
It. So I was telling you that John made this cool thing that we were looking at earlier. And so here was the short version, right? Is we do this thing called the unit cloud, which I'll tell you guys about later. It's in that file that I sent you. But so let's say you've got your 4 units here, right? And now people want to start laying out the building. Like, yeah, you can, like, because you're doing it with Dynamo and you're placing the actual units, that's awesome. But the short version is what John's little app that he put together for us was doing is it was essentially creating, this is going to be super ghetto, but it was creating this. And what we were doing was then using that. So our clients, if you will, wanted a fast way. Oh my gosh, I'm so used to my computer. Let's just do this. Our clients wanted a fast way to lay out units so they would not bother. Really?
My keyboard shortcuts may be screwed up. I haven't changed any of them. I haven't been working in Revit too much.
Yeah, no worries. Let's just let's go back and find that floor that I just drew. It's in here somewhere, right? Isn't it in here somewhere?
I think it's the one to the left.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, all that to say, our clients were dragging the floors around to place their units. And then later we would have another app or another graph that would then copy.
Like repopulate it, right?
Is it because we're isolated?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what just happened. So this view does not have a crop region.
We're on, what are we hiding isolating though?
No, that's something over here. What?
That's an ugly roof.
Okay, I'm gonna do this again because I'm not crazy. I know how to use Revit. I do this all day. So there's a floor. I have it selected. I'm going to use the copy command. I'm going to copy it right here. Okay, whatever. I must have been doing something stupid. Anyways, our clients would drag this around. Here's why I bring it up real quick while you guys are starting to talk about schedules. If you put rooms in the groups, you're not going to get the schedules you think, because rooms always either go to the face or the center line of the wall. For architects, they're always going to keep rooms on the face of the wall for a whole number of reasons. And obviously that's going to short you a whole bunch of square footage. You can do it with area plans, which is the right way to do it, but that's suddenly a boatload more work because area plans aren't automated. You'd have to place area boundary lines after setting up the area plan. That's a whole other animal. The kind of cool thing about this is obviously floors report areas. So if you start doing this as you're working, you can just use a floor schedule to get the square footage of these. So that's the only reason I bring it up, because
see, John.
Yeah, and I have to run in a second too. John, I'll talk to you later. I feel bad. Like now I've been on 2 meetings today with John, and like we haven't had a meeting internally in like weeks.
No, that's what Notion's for. You don't actually have to talk to each other.
Totally. No, I mean, yeah, Revit's great at quantifying, but for getting gross and net square footage, it can be a giant pain in the ass. Yeah. So like for what you guys are doing, this may be a really quick and fast way. And the reality is you can also put these in the groups if you want. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. Like when the model goes to get fully documented, they would have to come out at some point, but you can make throwaway floors and just stash them in the model group with you. And then it's all just placing automatically.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally play with that. I do have to go eat because I have a 1 o'clock. So we'll let you guys go. This was a lot of fun though.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Thanks for joining.
The morning. Yeah, totally. I'll talk to you guys in a bit.
Yeah.
See you, man.
All right. See ya. Bye. Cool. That was.
You got some good tricks and tips.
Yeah.
From the best. Shameless plug for Parallax. They're the best at Revit.
They know every in and out. Like, yeah, that is cool. Alrighty.
That I was sitting here just laughing with that hack. It's awesome. It's technically not a hack if they let you do it, right?
That's true. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's circle up. I don't know, probably Monday or something. We can talk a little bit more about this, and then probably let's reach out to some of our customers and see if they'd be willing to look at the script and see if they'd want to try it out on their units.
Yeah. I was talking with Matt, and I think we have a customer in mind. So, yeah.
I have like 8, 9, 17 of them.
They do have to be in Revit, and at least for this beginning testing phase, decent at Dynamo, or be able to open it. But
yeah. There's a couple that are, but I do think that a plugin is probably warranted at some point, just to make it easy.
Yeah, it's just like, if 2 people know Dynamo in a 80-person firm, we could probably have 15 people or 30 people that can use the Revit add-in instead. And it's just we'll have less questions about like, oh, I tried to change this in the Dynamo script and it didn't work. And yeah.
I also feel like there'd be an opportunity to just like, if you're in TestFit, just to click a button within TestFit.
Yeah, I don't actually, I'm sure John would be a good person to ask about that, but I'm not totally sure how that would work, but I think there would be a way.
Or we go maybe the design automation API is another thing. We should talk to Mike Engel about that again. He has some ideas. It's going in the right direction. I mean, I think what they're doing is going in the right direction.
Nice.
I just don't know if very many people are going to want to pay the markup on the compute. Wouldn't they rather just open Revit and run the script?
Yeah, until we have the ability to really we have some strong automation tools. I don't think it's going to be worth it for a while. And I feel like a lot of people are using it for documentation type stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but the goal I think is to get more towards using it for building design. Revit's future, I think, is documentation mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, it can document anything.
Yeah. Which is also like its downfall, right? Like it has to be as flexible as possible. So it can't.
Which is, and it's a little bit slower in some places. So you got to make, it's a trade-off. But I appreciate the work, man.
Yeah, no problem. I didn't notice the roof on the house in your background.
The hip roof.
That's amazing.
This is so Ryan's got a pretty excellent straight skeleton algorithm that he wrote from scratch, and he posted this one day. It was like, "Hey, look what we can do." And so straight skeleton it's an offset. It's how offsets are done. Geometric offsets.
Gotcha. That's funny. All right. Cool.
But it's more of a joke because my Zoom background on less serious calls.
It's amazing.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, lovely lines. No, I told him, I was like, okay, you need overhangs. Like, at some point, you need mechanical systems that go up there. Like, they basically like shave off. Like, in modern multifamily apartments, it's never going to be like a full roof. Like, it's just like some roof. And then there's like a drop-in area where they put all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Have a great weekend. Well, no. You got to work all the way until the end of the workday.
Yeah, until I've worked, 40 hours this week.
Plus the 1 minute per day. That is
for the vaccine. And also don't forget lunch. That's 30 to 60 minutes.
You got to pay us back for that time.
Yeah. I'll make sure to put it all in my time card when I submit it at 6 p.m.
Dude, I was just so blown away by seeing the stuff inside the units populate.
Yeah, it's cool. I think Ryan really had the whole foundation of all of it set up, so it really wasn't that difficult.
Yes. Well, Ryan and I, we together.
Ryan and you, yes, you are co-founders.
Someone had to say, what is a demising wall? What is a common wall? What is a facade?
Yeah.
But no, he's excellent, man. Like that DLL that sorts through all the crap and just makes it clean. Best thing we ever did with the
it's impressive.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Cool. Talk to you later.
Thanks everybody for YouTube Live.